Good afternoon, average engineers. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that I usually don't cover much, usually don't delve into, and that is Amazon's return to office mandate that came out recently.
Hey, get back to work, you lazy rabble.
Luckily, this is a more technical channel. I don't dive into too much non-work stuff, but I think it's an interesting thing to talk about. So in case you didn't know or you've been living under a rock, it seems like a lot of this has been happening, the return to work that is. It seems like after COVID, the whole return to work thing started kind of slipping out, people kind of sliding it under. I think the most popular and funniest one was Zoom, of course, mandating some return to work. That's hilarious. But yeah, recently this week, Amazon announced a return to work mandate 5 days a week for their employees in the office. Man, what a blow. I mean, they did have an earlier one where they mandated people 3 days a week in the office, and now this 5 day, I guess, is not that surprising, although it is kind of a little. It seems kind of strange, I guess, for the corporate employees having to go back 5 days a week. It just seems like the world has kind of shifted a little bit, so I can understand maybe why they want to do it, but also at the same time, I mean, they must not care that much about losing people, because of course they will probably lose people. And at the same time they announced this, they also said they're kind of like flattening their reporting structure, meaning they might be getting rid of middle management. Some people, I mean, it's kind of unclear. They just said they want to flatten the hierarchy of management, so I don't know what that means. It probably means getting rid of some layers of management. It's great. It's interesting. Amazon said that they will review the team structure as part of this, and they'll possibly identify roles no longer required. It's kind of funny. I don't know. It just seems like yet another way for them to fire people if they want. I read online that Amazon's total headcount is about 1.5 million people. Holy cow, that's a lot of employees. I think the funniest thing was, though, the CEO said they're making this change to strengthen its corporate culture, and you can say that again. I mean, that's one way to do it. Make everybody come back into the miserable office, I guess. I'm probably biased because I've worked from home for a long time, so when I see these return to work things, I'm just aghast that companies still do that and that people still do that. I know a lot of people have to go into the office every single day. I don't. I haven't for a long time, and I cannot honestly imagine going back to it in an office every day, even if it was a nice office, after being at home for so long. I understand there's lots of arguments on both sides. You've got studies that people quote on either side saying, there's detrimental to the culture and to innovation if people are in the office. Other people say, people being at home just frees them up, makes them happier, so of course they perform better. I don't know. I can see both arguments. A lot of it, I think, comes down to the person or the people that are impacted. Some people like me, I just value my freedom more. I will never go back to an office. I just will not do it. I will not drive in the car and waste my precious and short life driving back and forth in traffic to an office. I just will not do it because I can do my job from home. So I simply will not go back to the office. It'd be like the last case scenario or last worst case that I would ever do. But I understand there are some people that like going to the office possibly, and I think that's just a personal thing and a culture thing, and I think it should be personal if somebody wants to be in the office because, I don't know, they're lonely, they don't have family and friends, and they like driving in the car and then just sitting in an office all day, which I think is weird, obviously. You can tell. But, there's a lot of people that don't like that. They just want to be at home. They want that flexibility to work as needed, to take care of things as needed, and they simply just don't think that driving in a car for some portion of your day and then just sitting in an office to get on a Zoom call while you're in the office to talk to people on the other side of the country, it does seem kind of pointless when you think about it. There have been some recent studies, one by Stanford, that emphasize that hybrid work is highly effective, meaning a little bit of both, which I'm kind of surprised Amazon didn't keep that in place, a little bit from home, a little bit in the office, because obviously you're going to lose employees, good employees, when you mandate return to office, because there's still a lot of places that are sticking to hybrid or totally remote, so they'll just go do that for someone else. Yeah, that study by Stanford found that companies that had adopted hybrid, where people can be in and out part of the week, in the office out part of the week, they saw retention rates improve significantly. That's an obvious finding. That's no surprise. But as a software engineer especially, I think that it's hard to argue that people should be in the office to write software. For the most part, software engineers don't like meetings in the first place. A lot of the teams are spread across anyways, and it requires a lot of Slack and Zoom. So you don't need to be in an office to do that, to write code, to pair program, to collaborate on things, especially with code. It's just not that important. I mean, if you have software engineers that are literally in meetings and need to talk to people all day long, that's kind of weird because they're not going to be software engineers at that point. They're not really writing code at that point. And I think it's just the way the culture's going. People just want the flexibility. They are just kind of breaking with the past. You know, our forefathers used to go work for the same company for 40 years in the office, 9 to 5. That was just part of the culture back then, decades ago. And it seems like the culture's changed. People don't work for the same companies as long anymore. They move jobs more and they expect more flexibility. They expect to be treated better, possibly, than in the past. And remote work seems to be part of that. And the other part of it's just hard to take that carrot back or that piece of cake back. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Once you've given people remote work, even partially, just to take that back and say come back to the office, of course, people are going to be upset and mad. It's obvious. Do I think that Amazon's going to lose a lot of good employees by forcing people to return to the office? Well, of course I do. Do they care? Probably not, or they wouldn't have done it. Think about it. Amazon's a huge company. For every person that leaves because they have to return to the office, there's going to be 5 other people willing to take their place to come into the office because they want that job, they want to work at Amazon, they want the benefits, the pay, etc. So in the end, it comes down to, yes, I think it's stupid, return to work. I think anybody making somebody work in the office, especially in software, is dumb. But I think it's a personal choice. The companies are free to do what they want. If they want to turn into a corporate suckhole that makes people working in a beige office cubicle nightmare all day, that's their prerogative. They can do that. And if you want to work there, that's fine. And if you don't want to work there, then go work somewhere else. I think it's silly. But anyways, I'd be interested to know. Let me know in the comments, you software people, how many of you are hybrid, how many of you are fully remote, or any of you all the time in the office, and tell me what you like or dislike about it.